Okay, it's Wednesday, February 1st, 2023, and we're going to start the Town of Sangerville Select Board meeting, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 2, approval of the minutes, Select Board meeting, January 18th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
All in favor, or all three in favor? Item 3, review of treasurer's warrants, payroll 8, 9, and accounts payable 7 and 10.
Make a motion to approve A and B's read.
Second.
All in favor, or all three in favor? Open session, I think you guys are, I know what you guys are here for, so we'll move past open session and go to old business, and then go to Jeff Libby, Guilford Sangerville Water Sanitary merger. That's what you guys are here for.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're back asking for a letter of approval for the consolidation of Guilford and Sangerville water districts. Just to give you a brief history, we've been doing this since 2019. It started way before that, but we really got into it in 2019. Right now, we're at number 6 of the 11, 12 steps that are required. To this point, it has cost us really no money to do this. It's just, we're doing all the stuff ahead of time. And we've got as far as the charter, which I get you guys a copy of the charter. In the end of 2019, we contracted with Maine Rural Water, and they came in and they gathered all the information from both the sanitary and the water district and put all the budgets together. And in 2019, the end of 2019, if we had been consolidated, we would have saved $191,000 at a minimum. We would have saved $151,000. Those were real numbers based on the audits from that year. Also, the things they recognized was reasons for consolidation. They gave us a list of that, with salaries and benefits, the engineering, you can do that both together, the accounting processes, contractor service, postage supplies, billings, and computer service. There's also, with the two, there's a lot of redundance within the two. We all have copy machines, we all have computers, and so they give us a list of stuff that it's redundant systems. Those are not recorded in the savings of $191,000. That's on the low-hanging fruit that we can go out there once we combine and find more money. What we came up with, as far as a structure of personnel, would be 1 full-time manager, 2 full-time workers, and part-time help is needed. So on weekends, like a Joey Worthen, you guys know him, they'll come in and do some things at sanitary. That would be the part-time. 1 full-time office manager and a half-time. So in other words, 1 clerical full-time and 1 part-time clerical, and part-time help is needed. We are there now. So through attrition and everything, this is what we're working with today. And talking with the manager over the sanitary district, it's gone pretty well. You've got the sanitary working with the water and working with the town. So if something happens in the road, we've gone back the old way. We're all trying to work together, again, to save money instead of contracting stuff out. Well, we have a dump truck, we use our dump truck, they use whatever, and go from there. And you do have a copy of the charter. So we're open to questions. Again, we're just looking for a letter of support. That will go to the legislature. I met with Guilford 4 weeks ago, and they're supposed to give me one this week, a letter of support. And what we're doing is we're just trying to protect the ratepayers in the towns for whatever might happen if business collapses and we find out we don't have the revenues on the water side and the sewer side has more capacity than what they need. We're going to have to make some changes, and that could cost money, but if we can consolidate, save money, we can keep the structure level.
I had reached out to Rick Pellerin, because, Rick, are you on both, or just one?
No, just the sanitary.
And you supported this merger. It's kind of a summary of our conversation, but,
Yes.
yeah. And you had reached out,
I reached out to Rick, I reached out to Patrick, who's on the water, and I also reached out to Toby Cleves. And everyone I spoke with is for it.
Okay, that was important to us, do we just, because you guys know more about it than we do, and if you like it, that's a pretty good sign, I think, as far as we're concerned.
Right, I mean, I think we were all okay to do it, we just wanna make sure that our board members were also okay with that, we didn't wanna trump them, basically. So, yeah, we're good to,
I think the only, just so people who are listening understand, I think at least what I came away, the only significant change is the way that it's currently arranged, is there's parity between the two communities. Sangerville and Guilford have kind of an equal say in everything that goes on. If we complete this merger, there can't be parity anymore. I guess the legislature says you can't do it that way. And so Guilford will have basically one more seat, that will give them the say. Is that how you guys understand it?
Correct.
That's how we took it, and that's just the reality of it, I guess.
That's due to the legislature, not the
Yep,
two
that's-
boards.
correct.
Yep.
So is that based off population, is that how they determine?
Right, it's based on population. At no time would we, or have we ever looked at, okay, we're gonna do all the improvements in Guilford, not do anything the same. That division, in all of our discussions, all the engineering, all the things we've done, that discussion has never come up. Something needs to be done over here, they'll dig here, they'll do whatever. I mean, it's what's best for the ratepayers, not personal preference. The other thing, Milo used to be individual, now they've been together for quite a while, and you talk to Kevin Black, and he says the best thing that ever happened. He says, you got more manpower, you got more people, you got better direction, flow, and things go a lot smoother, towns work together.
Are the board members going to remain, all of the board members, or is that going to change as
The
well?
board members are picked by the select board of each town.
Okay,
so you
but
get
the
to-
number that we get to represent
The total number
Will be reduced to 2.
to
will be
two.
reduced.
Yeah.
Legislature will tell us how many we actually need in the town. And the
Okay.
selectmen get to pick who you'd like to have on those boards. Temporarily, both boards will be in place as the new board transitions in and the old board transitions out.
And I think you told me this has to be during the normal election cycle. This isn't something we approve at town meeting. This is during a gubernatorial vote, or how?
So what will happen next is we need to go out to the public and we need to see what the public wants to do. And then maybe Rural Water will help us with that. So eventually it's what it's gonna come down to is Sangerville's gonna have a vote and Guilford's gonna have a vote. Of all the members, you could do it during the November election, you could do it during school board. I wouldn't do it during school board because you don't get too many people
Right.
there. But during a general election, either we pay for it or not, it has to come to a general election, both
Right.
vote. If you vote it down, it's dead. If Guilford votes it down, it's dead. If we both vote up, then we
Yep.
progress forward. So it's the will of the people, all the people, not just the ratepayers in the system.
That's kind of the hard part about that vote, though, it's hard to get that communication to the mass of who shows up to that.
Well, we'd
So
have
they're
to have
education
public
enough to
meetings.
make that.
Yeah,
right
the
vote.
town meeting setting actually is, I would think would be more conducive to this, because at least people could stand up and debate it.
You can- Yeah, you
But-
can communicate better.
You guys are gonna have all the groundwork laid in advance.
And it's incumbent upon you to do the public meetings, not our board, to
Correct.
conduct those public meetings.
Correct, Maine Rural Water will help us with
Okay.
that.
Okay. Anything?
I'm good.
So I make a motion that we will write a letter of support for this merger.
Second?
Third,
Okay, all in favor? We'll get you a letter.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, quick question. How far does water and sewer go up Dowdy Hill? Or does it even get there?
no, it does.
Water goes to.
It goes to church? Yeah.
Water goes to Larrabee's house, then Larrabee's, and sewer only goes.
I don't know.
The church
the
or the,
seniors-
yeah, the senior
I
citizens
think
right
it
there.
only goes into that,
Yeah,
Yeah, in fact, there's a hydrant, isn't there, in front of the church, I think? Yeah.
well, then in Larrabee is.
It goes a
Oh.
little further because they had a bleeder up there for some years somewhere.
I'm surprised it goes that far.
yeah, Bernard's would be the last actual house on the left before you start up the hill.
Yeah,
For water.
that's for water, the
Yeah.
sewer does not go that far.
Okay, thanks. We'll get it to you ASAP. Is there a format that you wanna send to Lorna and,
No?
okay?
just a letter of support.
We'll wing it.
Of the merger, and
Okay.
All right.
pass that on to the legislative
Oh.
people.
All righty, we'll get it to you.
Very good.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Can we be
Yeah.
rules?
Sure.
please?
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
Yeah. Let the record show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys.
Again, back, still in old business, but item A, Town Hall building.
So we did get that drawing from Nick, and I've emailed him, I haven't heard back from him about, we wanted, dimensions.
Yeah, I don't have any point of reference, so I can't, I don't know how big the
and
rooms
then-
are.
Yeah, and it was, and I asked him to change because he had them entering like where you enter right now, but that would have been just empty space, and I want that to be where we actually work, so that we can do that drive-through
Right,
at the end of, so
Right.
it's still.
Yep.
And I said that needs to be added in there, so I'll,
he
reach out to
didn't,
him.
he hadn't put in door, it really didn't look to me, because the only doors were existing doors.
Right,
Yeah.
right, so he just wanted to first see if that was the setup we kind of wanted, and I wanted to change it around a little bit, and now he'll go on.
Okay,
But-
all right. And basically, you're gonna take more and more of that building, depending on whether we go with just a meeting room or
Right, I have.
town meeting room, or,
Right,
right, so,
right.
so that's cool.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
should work. Anything else?
He didn't do any, like profiles or anything as far as, it's still gonna be like shed roof type.
I'm not sure, to be honest, I'm not sure what
I think-
what his plans.
My interpretation, he was just trying to show you, this is what you have for a building, and this
That's
is
what
what
I
you could
thought.
lay out.
Okay,
I
that's,
mean, at first I'm looking how he put his lines, it's like,
Yeah, and I
trying to
thought-
figure this out, is he trying to build in the building, or?
yeah, that's,
But
I think it's just the footprint that he.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, okay.
because at
It
the
was
end of the day, to
defining the
me,
footprint,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd fire up the chainsaw and rip down what we're gonna do and then start over, because
Right.
to remodel that whole inside and not redo the roof and.
Right, you would have.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't do
I
that.
mean, it's a complete
Yeah.
redo,
Insulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and it remains, if you don't go to more than a meeting room, how much of that building do you even keep? I mean,
Sure.
do you then
Sure.
separate the last two bays, so maybe they're equipment storage, or do you even do that, so I could.
And I kind of spoke about that to him, maybe leaving those last bays as code storage.
Yeah, I
So they
mean,
used to have, some use.
Indoor parking for the town manager.
Yeah,
heated indoor town manager parking,
Yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
exactly.
So I mean, you're always gonna need a place to put your signs and
Right,
Yeah,
there's always, yes, there's always.
and
stuff that
calcium
needs
for
to
the
be-
row, I mean, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, that kind of storage will get used,
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
yeah, we use that.
Storage gets used.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the other problem with storage. That's the bad part of having too much. So-
Okay, I think I'm anxious to see a more final version, so.
Renderings.
Anything else on that? Okay. I will mention, because it kind of goes with this subject, I got a call from the reporter for the Observer, Bangor Daily / Observer. Her name was Valerie, she was very nice. But it sounded, she didn't really confirm this, but it sounded to me like the Historical Society has reached out to her and tried to create some buzz around the old building, and so she had a lot of questions about that. I directed her towards some of our recorded meetings. I said, all of this has been vetted, everybody knows that this wasn't a new thing, we've been working on this for years. But some of the same, questions that we get every time, like some of the stuff's been posted on social media, she was asking all of that stuff. So there may be a story coming, I don't know, she may
So
reach
more
out.
of to the rumor mill kind of questions, or more towards factual questions?
Well, some of them were very similar to the rumor mill type thing that we've had, we're doing things without telling anybody kind of thing.
Selling the building without,
That was,
The
I gave that
town's role.
example, that had been promoted one time, or that we were considering demolishing the building. And I said, all of those things those are all illegal things, we couldn't even do them. So I basically said the board's position on this is they're not really connected issues. We have to run the town needs a facility that is safe, secure, and efficient. And I said, right now, we're getting by about 600 square feet. so we're working on proposals for something new, but they don't really have anything to do with each other. So I don't know, and I guess she came and saw you?
Yeah, she met with me today. I met with her this morning. And pretty much same.
Same question.
Yeah.
She wanted to get into the building, and I said, you're gonna have to check with town
And I
manager, I don't
said
think you can
no.
do that, so,
We have no insurance. It's
yeah.
cold. Yeah. There was no need for her to be in that building.
So anyway, just if people bring it up.
Now, you said Observer, which is Dover.
Yeah, Dover and the Bangor Daily are that's one
Yeah,
property
yeah,
now.
owns them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so would it be in both papers?
Yeah, sometimes actually you can read one story and it's the same verbiage in the other.
Oh, okay.
Like copy paste, but I'm
Okay.
not, I have no idea which.
Oh, I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Didn't know that either.
Yes.
Appointment of CEO, and Lance is here.
That's me.
It's that time of year. So, where you guys wanna start?
Well, how was the first year? How was your first year? In your,
Pretty good, actually. I learned a lot. And still working on a couple of tests. But I got through shoreline. It just the rest of them are stacked up on his desk. I guess I haven't got to.
so tests that you have to pass in order to be
Yeah, after
licensed?
your first year, you have to for CEO. Licensed as LPI. CEO once you are assigned a town, then you have 12 months to complete certain tasks, certain tests, shoreland, land use, things like that. They're not real clear on how you do it. You kind of have to get on the website and figure it out for yourself.
But not specific to each town, because I know you're
No,
LPI in
well,
several.
each town can assign, like, there's a form, like the one I had to fill out, yes, you're the CEO for this town. This is what we need. We need, say we need ventilation, say we need, building code. We need all these things you can check off are all tests I would have to pass on the state fire marshal's website. So land use and shoreland are mandatory.
Okay.
So those are the big ones you have to get under your belt.
Other than that, I've heard over the time, what's going on with certain properties.
Mhm.
That doesn't look like much is happening. And
I think I know what we're talking about. I thought this might come up. And that's just one of those situations where I try to treat everyone with respect and in respect to the ordinance as well. And different people seem to respond better with different methods. In this particular one, when I took over, I was handed a file about 5 inches thick.
on one
On
particular
the one
residence.
particular property. We got the property across the street taken care of, got that dealt with, and made pretty
Should
good
we-
progress.
Should we be talking about this in?
Oh,
I mean, we haven't, I guess we could go into executive
Executive
session,
session.
but I'm not exactly sure the premise there's no litigation that we would be in jeopardy.
That's why.
Yeah, no, I mean, if we have,
But it could be, that's why I'm asking.
I mean, it's a little bit like when you have talking about an employee and you only have one employee, it doesn't mean you get to go in executive session. And I don't think we have one single property that's in violation. We only have one ordinance,
No, we have
everybody
several. We have
knows.
several.
Right, so in general, I guess do you personally have a problem with that ordinance?
No,
You don't have a problem enforcing it?
I don't
or-
have a problem enforcing it, it's just some of these properties have been building for years, and now that we have an ordinance, it's not gonna happen overnight.
Right.
You know.
Is anybody being fined?
Not at the moment, no.
Do you think that's likely to happen?
I've put out, not threats of fines, a lot of properties I've put out the initial, hey, this is the ordinance, this is your property, blah, 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 and I've gotten great response, quick response.
Sure.
I've had some people push back a little, and most of them, I don't believe, the worst properties, I don't believe fines will work. I'm trying to get the best results without the town spending money and without the property owner really spending any money.
can we stop for 1 second?
Sure.
Lance, you have you also can say, let's go into executive session.
Sure, we can do that if you like.
Well,
Well, no, it's your call too.
It's your call.
That would be pertaining to Lance.
to Lance.
Correct.
Yes,
Correct,
and she's
correct.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
If you
I
don't
just
want
wanted to
to
let you
discuss
know
this,
that.
you don't have to.
That,
It's whether
then,
you want on tape or not, too.
right,
As respect to property owners, I don't wanna get too.
No, I don't
on
see,
tape, I don't wanna
although
get
it's
too
all
involved.
public information, but.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Yeah. Some people respond well to letters, some people dig their heels in. And I haven't had a problem, I'm getting continual progress, as long as I get continual progress, I'm okay with it, I think that's the only way to approach it. I mean, it would be easy for me to just throw out a notice and you got 30 days is the maximum I can give, and after 30 days, if it's not taken care of, then hand it to the lawyer. That'd be easy for me. I mean, I have a couple properties that I visit monthly. I visited monthly all year long. You know, I haven't been there since December, but,
Right.
you know, the snow and ice makes a difference. But as long as I get forward progress, I'm happy with it.
But I guess for us, and I say us, I mean meaning the board, but also because of people drive by and they see things.
Mhm.
So like the statement that you made, you was handed with a file 5 inches thick.
Right.
And I think I understand your thought of progress, but I think that's the other side of it is a lot of people don't see the progress. So for me, is it a matter of, are you looking at always the mindset of the property owner or of the community? Or are you
Trying to.
reluctant to go to the legal aspect to try to save money, or just not want, you know what I'm trying to?
Yeah, I've used the legal aspect as a, you know, as long as I see progress, I won't go the legal aspect of it, because I don't think the legal aspect of it in some situations will help.
But if you have progress that's, let's say, is very incremental, like if at the current rate, it might take 11 years.
Yeah, no. I'm
So,
looking
do you
at-
have a, yeah,
I have one property in my mind, and I think, you know, we're all on the same page, that has been growing over the last 5 years. So my first year, I think I've made more progress than has been done in the last 3 or 4 years. I've met with the DEP on one property a couple of times. DEP was happy, it was the chemical guy. He asked what my approach was, and I told him, you know, small steps. He was really happy with that. He said, you know, some people will dig their heels in, you know, and, you know, when the threats and the legal and this and that. And if people don't have money, you're not gonna get fines out of them anyways.
well, no, and yes, it's a little bit like our concerns with the solar panels. If you got a big
Yeah,
enough
yeah,
mess
definitely.
and you dig a big enough hole, it just ends up coming back to us and we have to clean it up anyway. So I appreciate the way you're thinking about it.
Right.
We need to be consistent, that's my concern.
well, that exactly what I was going to say.
You know, like some of them, I'm sure there's some that I haven't even approached. If you're down on the end of a dead-end road,
Sure.
you know, you're still in the same violation as the person who lives on the main road, but you're not gonna get approached.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Because no one's complained.
Do you wait for a complaint from a citizen, Lorna calls you and says, I got a complaint, or one of us calls you, I got a complaint, or do you, if you see something, do you just pull in and say, hey, you're getting close to having a problem here?
There's one that I've done that way, there's actually more than one, because we did a round in the fall, I wanted to get a round out before snow and ice came.
Yep.
And, you know, Lorna had pointed one out, I had 2 in my mind, so I wrote up a bunch. Lorna helps me, you know, massage them so they're a little better written and send them out. I got great response on those. It was kind of a friendly, hey, snow's gonna fly, you know, things are gonna get frozen in, I appreciate, you know, that's kind of the first round. And then if things don't happen, then it goes into, hey, you got 30 days to take care of this and that. But, you know, I have to treat all of them legally, but some of them get treated with a different approach. I think whatever will work the best.
Well, I think that's part of the problem too, is some of these places, I'm a firm believer, all of us, or certain people may see that's an issue, but I don't think these people see it as an issue.
No,
I don't see that they think that they're doing anything wrong, and I think that's part of the,
I guess some they see it as a threat when I approach them. They're like, hey, this is my stuff, I'm not gonna get rid of it, you know. And I'm like, hey, you know, if you just organize things a little bit, you know, get things out of sight, you know, this wouldn't be an issue. If things instantly get taken care of and then they roll back out again. And that's, I have one property I looked and they've got the same notice every year for the past 8 or 9 years. And the notice gets sent out, things get cleaned up, and then they kind of explode back out again. The one big one, I think I've made good progress in the first year on the one big one. I know a lot of people probably don't see it because it's small things, but you know, you can actually get in the driveway now. You can actually, no parking on the road.
Depends on which day you go by.
Yeah.
And in the wintertime is, I think we're talking about the same property. I mean, you got nearly 2 stories of old appliances that you can now see from the road.
Yeah,
I mean,
the previous administration before, not administration, the previous person in my position gave them a, build a fence type of deal.
Yeah.
You know, it started, but it hasn't been taken care of. I've been trying to take care of everything that's closer first.
That's kind of that's the problem in my opinion, as far as the build the fence idea. Sounds like a really good today fix, but the fence never stays up.
Then
So
the fence becomes an eyesore.
Correct.
Yes.
So you're still not really fixing the problem, you're just covering
It's
it
still in
up.
violation.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just making it so not everybody sees how bad it truly is. That's kind of the part about it.
What happens is we get the calls.
I get it.
So it all flows downhill.
I get it.
It's like, okay, yeah, they moved 2-3 pieces, but you still got 130 pieces. Yeah, okay.
Well, and that's my thought too. I mean, I do agree with you that, maybe the legal system isn't the answer. But I think at a point, it has to be the answer because, when it does go to the court system or whatever, there's gotta be a point there where something has to take place.
I case note all my visits, I document them all in notes. And I've always held that legal action out there saying, hey, if I don't get results, then this can happen. And it's been a month thing. As long as I see progress every month, and I've been there where it kind of got verbal once. And I said, hey, I can just give it to the lawyers. No. I don't think I think that action in this particular place would blow up into a big to-do. It's going to cost the town money.
The only thing I would remember-
In the end, I don't think it's going to get any results.
The town passed the ordinance. If it ends up biting the town,
Yep.
that's not your fault.
That's right. That's
You-
what everybody,
Yeah, that's.
and again, I think, I know what you're saying, but let's just say, it doesn't matter who it is. If you get to a situation and we end up in a court situation and the judge rules in our favor and these fines go into play, and if the town doesn't get any money, you go back to court. And the judge is gonna rule again, and if you have to go back to court, you go back to court. There's gonna be a point
There's going to be
where
jail,
the
there'll be
judge,
jail time.
or the judge is at a certain point is gonna say, that's now town-owned property, or the judge is gonna come up with a way where the town is gonna get reimbursed in one way or another.
If our
And if-
ordinance is legal,
If it is.
and we believe it is,
It was run through the lawyer.
correct,
Yes.
correct,
Yep.
but it still could go, eventually you could end up with
Yeah.
2-3 lawyers arguing over this thing.
Sure, it's like anything.
But it
It's only
isn't,
good until it's proven that it is.
the town passed the ordinance, it's not up to the select board or the code enforcement officer to decide whether, I think this could get clunky.
Right, to manipulate it or.
Right,
We just go forward.
right.
And if it turns out that our ordinance is ungainly or too expensive for Sangerville to have, they're probably gonna repeal it someday.
Right.
But right now,
We've never,
they passed it, they want it.
Right,
yep.
it was passed. That particular one is difficult.
I'm sure it is, because we only have one, so it's like our only ordinance.
Right, and so it needs to be enforceable.
Yeah.
That one particular property.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have many that fall into
There's
that.
many that I'm reluctant to visit, they're not a problem, no one's complaining.
I can think of a few where if you start getting phone calls and you start engaging with them, it's gonna be just like the one it won't be any easier.
There's some that are gonna be terrible,
Mm-hmm.
terrible.
That's why I think you're gonna want a system, and you just stick with it. It's this day, that day, we're on the 60th day, this happens.
Correct.
And you're on, and you move to the next one.
Well, and that's my other thing, is when you're into a file that is already that thick, the nice guy theory didn't work.
No, right.
Well, he was given, there
You
was notices, there was threats of lawyers, there was legal action that never, the lawyer wrote up letters and it got to the point and
We didn't have an ordinance
Right,
that had any
nobody-
teeth.
Yeah.
Right. didn't
And that
stay
was
in.
how all this came
I
about.
can easily go that road, it'd be a lot easier for me.
I agree with, I understand what you're saying, but I also agree with what Mike's saying. I think it doesn't matter the situation, you should have a protocol.
Right.
That, you know, strike one, strike two, strike three, this happens. And baby steps or big steps, the end game is they have to abide by that ordinance and have to get to that point. And if they're not there and the timely, whatever that timeline is for you to get them to that, then,
The maximum I can give is 30 days. And then select board could decide to go another 30 days, you know, or all of us combined. And then the lawyer would write it up and the lawyer would give 30 days, I believe. So, I mean, after 90 days, I think you're in court.
But we're talking about properties that have been doing this for years. So, I mean,
No, I'm saying if I,
right, once
Right.
we decide, okay, we've had enough, you've had years of requests, you're not complying, I mean, realistically, you could give them those tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they've had every opportunity in the world to, right,
but my other thing about it too, that I'm sitting here thinking more into this, the longer you, because we're almost not abiding by our ordinance, by allowing that behavior. So I also worry about that, if we do keep prolonging and we do end up in a court situation, the judge is gonna say, well, it hasn't been,
where you been?
right, it's been okay for the last 3 years, why are we in court today? Because you're almost, even though you got an ordinance, you're almost, yeah, that's all right. So I get it, you know, I don't know if,
And another thing is, I know that there were many people who were excited about a new code enforcement officer, so things would get done. And here we are a year through, and I understand it's not you're sitting around not doing anything, you are doing, but are you
I've
adding?
got more time spent in that one property than I have in anything else I've done.
Well, then it needs to move on.
Yeah, I would say,
It
you're
needs to
you're
move
kinda, honestly, you're,
I mean, I was seeing gains every time, you know.
right.
I know,
But
I was trying to figure out the best way to achieve results for this property.
well, with any property, I can see where, I like your approach, but
Right,
you don't wanna get pulled into the rabbit hole, and
No,
all of a sudden,
No, I didn't.
2 years go by.
I understand you can't have one rule for this person.
No,
Right.
no.
right, so maybe that's kind of with your thought process and kind of what we're talking about, maybe it's you summons, and I'm just throwing something out, and not saying it's the right way, but maybe this is the situation. I know what you said about 30 days, but if they're 50% at 30 days, you can give them another 30 days, expecting it's 100%.
Across the road, it was a real mess. And we got it taken care of, I had a 30-day notice, and I got there at the end of 30 days, and there was great progress.
Correct.
I gave a 14-day extension, and then by the end of 14 days, it was within.
Sure. So I mean, that kind of,
that's reasonable.
Sure.
Very reasonable.
yeah, I like that.
Real deadlines, you
Right.
know.
But we're not talking about any specific place, in
Right.
general,
No.
these
Right,
ordinance,
right.
this ordinance needs to be
Right.
consistent.
Yeah, 30 days, whatever the issue is on any property, whatever your expectation is, 75% needs to be cleaned up, and I'll give you a 14-day to finish it up, or whatever, something like that.
Maybe I need to go more aggressive. Not a lot can be done in the winter.
Nope,
No.
100%, fully agree.
And there is continuation of cleanup going on during the winter.
Right.
And you know, the neighbors deserve the same sort of respect that you're giving somebody who's really breaking our ordinance, or you know, so the neighbors that are keeping their, whatever neighbor, they
I
also,
understand.
yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah. So, you know, after 1 year, I don't want people calling me and saying, well, you know, that wasn't a good.
If you had come to us and said, you know, here's this ordinance is clunky because of this or
It
that,
doesn't
we
work.
might have been, yeah, but it doesn't sound like that's really the problem.
It's fairly simple. I mean, it doesn't involve vehicles. It doesn't. So things on wheels that are mobile, I haven't been worried about. Just trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
Things that
Sure, yeah,
aren't.
yeah.
So on
Okay.
a positive note,
Yeah.
not just to be all negative about you, honestly, I've heard tons of good reports of interactions between you in citizens, whether, you know, for whatever they've called you for, you come right out. You look at different things, you've been willing to work with people. I mean, all of that type of
I've done a lot of things that aren't even in my scope.
So, no, I definitely, and me personally, I mean, I've reached out to you quite a few different times. On a citizen's note, not a selectman note, through the things that I'd worked with Lance on and stuff, one thing that I mentioned to Lance that I personally hated was our permitting paperwork. I think it's very clunky.
Yes, and I've reached out to the state and I've looked through all the literature, there is really no,
Good guideline permits or
there's
anything.
no written black and white.
So we can do what we
Here's
want.
what we can do.
Yeah,
So maybe that's something we should work on.
yeah.
Whether
With
it's
the planning board,
whether it's
probably.
my signature on the back of one of my cards that the town made up for me, you know, so that I can easily identify, like, or we make up some sort of a.
Yeah, I just think it's, I mean, if you, if you get it and you start looking at it, it's like, all right, this is what I wanna do, and I'm looking at the paper, it's like, this is a pain in the butt. You know, it just,
It doesn't work.
yeah, it just needs to be different, it needs to be more usable, it needs to
Are
be
you
more
doing verbal
documentation.
authorizations? Do you ever say to the guy, yeah, go ahead, you can do
Like
that?
for trees.
Yeah, or,
Trees, for instance, yes, I go down, I visit the site, look at the tree, I meet with the people, I say, yes, you can, I have spray paint, I mark it, I say, yes, you can take this and this. If anybody complains, it's gonna come back to me.
right,
And I'm
right,
the one who gave them permission.
right.
I mean, I've chased down, I was on Manhattan one day on a certain property, and I heard chainsaws running on the other side. It took me 20 minutes to find that camp, I had to come all the way, but I found the guy, I found the.
You need a
chainsaw.
boat.
And it was a guy that I give him permission to.
Oh, there you go, there you go. Do you photo document at all?
Yes.
You do?
I do.
Yeah, that works well.
Yeah, cause we actually, me and Lance talked about that, cause I had a
About
tree
coming
that
up with
split.
something, yeah.
Yeah, so, and I, honestly, I was wondering about, what about if we could get you like one of them, just a stamp with your name and get a receipt book? Legitimately, you stamp it, write a quick description, you would have a hard copy, the person could have a hard copy, but yet still something simple.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
my brother was involved in a case in Abbott, he's on the lake up there, and he got a verbal from, they had an ordinance that you couldn't build within so many feet of any road, even a private road.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
was on a private road. And he was within 2 or 3 feet. They said, don't worry, you're all set, don't worry about it. So he built it. But then the majority of the board took exception to that. He ends up going to, they had to appeal it. And fortunately, the appeals board agreed with him, and fortunately, the gentleman that said, go ahead and do it, didn't say, I never said that.
Oh.
But that's, if my brother had had a receipt
Right.
that said, yes, go ahead and do this, I
Right.
think it would have been
The
better.
only thing I do verbals is trees.
Oh, okay, yeah,
No verbal on buildings or anything. Any building is a notice of building, if it's in shoreline, it's an actual permit. So,
yeah, other than that, we don't have any permitting.
no,
No, no,
no, just have a, intent to approve or a building notice.
yeah,
That's it.
okay. And kind of along the lines of what Dale was saying, I haven't had a single complaint about anybody being rude to them or short-tempered or anything, and that's really nice. So, because
And
that hasn't always been the case in our history.
oh, no, and I mean, I know on my camp road, I don't wanna throw a number out there, how many times you was on that camp road last summer. But I mean, there was a lot of
I
activity
still have
last
to go back, I have a public inspection to do, an internal inspection.
But I mean, there was a ton of activity on that road.
Yeah, I had a lot of buildings going up and down there and some trees and.
And it was all, I never heard anything negative at all, and everybody, again, you know, it was nice, reached out to him, he came right
Yeah,
out, or,
yeah.
you know, talked about it, it was, and then, I know there was a couple situations, mine included, with a tree, it was yeah, I understand, a compromising, how do we handle this so that it worked for the landowner and it worked for the rules as well, so.
And then it, works for the DEP.
Yep, so that was positive, so.
yeah, your availability is 100%, it's great. It's, that really works because people can move along. Just on a personal note, if you ever need a boat on Manhattan, we always have a boat sitting right at our dock.
I appreciate it.
So if ever you want to tool around from the water.
I've offered for Center Pond.
There you go, so you're all set.
It's a before and after pictures, you do the
Yeah, yeah.
entire lake.
Oh, there's plenty, that gets done for me pretty much.
Yeah, I'm sure you got your deputies.
Yeah.
But I don't know about Mannahannock, but we have like we have a Facebook page.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Friends of Center Pond, and
Friends of Center Pond.
yeah, everybody's really good about posting pictures all the
They have
time.
live cameras year round.
Look, there's a tractor in the water.
whoa.
So, lots of pictures. getting-
All right, if there's anything we can ever do for you, or you have a suggestion, don't hesitate.
And if you as a board decide some things are just, that's enough, I'm fine, like on that.
Well, that's not our role.
Right.
Right, I understand.
But I think this is great. We just need to have a consistent approach.
Correct.
And
Okay.
so, I make a motion that we reappoint.
Second.
All in favor? Congratulations, and thank you.
That it?
I gave it away.
There you go.
She's got it underneath
It's
there.
on the bottom.
Yeah.
You can use mine. I'm all set.
Right now?
No, I meant to get back to you
Yeah.
Carol, on that tree thing, but I looked and there was nothing.
Oh,
They seemed to think there was,
Yeah.
but there wasn't.
you just wanna go ahead and read that, maybe something over here.
I, Lance Johnson, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and this state as long as I continue a citizen therefore. I, Lance Johnson, do swear that I faithfully discharge to the best of my ability the duties incumbent on me as a local plumbing inspector and code enforcement officer according to the Constitution and laws of this state, so help me God.
Oh,
He slid the paper.
Oh.
He lost it.
perfect. I was thinking, what's that?
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
On to item 7, town manager report,
Yes,
cemetery mowing bids.
yes, I did receive a bid. It was from Jim.
I was feeling the same.
PJ's Lawn Care, his bid this year is $12,000. It's gone up 1,000 from last year, which is good. We do write into the contract, and last year it was, he used an additional 200. We write into the contract a little extra money for gas.
In case, yeah, if
Yeah.
fuel increases.
Yep.
Fuel
Yep,
increase, and he used, I think, 200 last year, that was
Yep.
it.
Okay.
So, I just wanted to,
all
You
right.
don't have to,
no, don't have to sign anything.
or make it on
Yep.
the, except.
No, because we
He-
budgeted at the
Okay.
town report.
I'm glad he did bid.
Yes, yes.
Me too, because there's a lot of years of him doing that with 0 complaints that I've ever heard of, so.
Yeah, no,
It's nice
he keeps up with them. And on to the budget.
I've worked on the budget, I've got the majority of it done, there's still some on the fire department, and there's a few things for public work, for the park and stuff that I haven't gotten, but I didn't know if you just wanted to take it home and look at it, and we set a meeting for next week, and start getting that done. So that-
Yeah, I think we should plow ahead.
The only thing that I saw, and I don't remember why we do it this way, that's why I'm asking. But now that we don't really have, we just have, everything's contractual on public works. But we still have, we have garage and then,
Where are you, what line?
Yeah.
so we got 10.
We got,
No, where are you?
150,
yeah, you got
140.
Division 10, and then you got
187,
Division,
okay.
yeah, I see what you,
You know what I mean? We don't really. And even we have summer
Line number are
roads,
you on?
Right, and-
187,
yeah.
167.
167?
Yeah, it's kinda all in the public works.
Oh, I see, okay.
Kinda bouncing around a little.
I would
bit.
have to look into how to change it, because it's just set up, from the coding aspect of it.
So,
And then like paving, I noticed though, if you're in summer roads, Department 20, Public Works, line 173, we don't have any paving. But then,
Okay, and that's the one I'm working on, that's the paving that came from from ARPA and things like that, so I gotta put that in there, that's where that money's going.
but you know what I mean? And then we have,
Yeah, and then we
the
have the
actual,
regular-
what we expended is
Yeah.
actually under road improvement under paving.
Right,
And then we have road equipment, and again, we have insurance under road equipment, and I'm still We don't have any road equipment. Shouldn't have any insurance.
What line is that, Dan?
212.
Okay. Auto insurance. 212, 212, 212.
212, 213.
Yeah, and it went down.
So even last year we said we shouldn't, you know what I mean? Last year, we talked about this, we don't have any more road equipment,
And it's still,
and we still got that. So I know it's petty and it's not much money, but that was just a couple of things that.
and I tried cleaning it up a little bit, like the lines that haven't been used, I got
see.
rid of.
I noticed. It looks a lot better.
Yeah, it's
And that's
getting
why,
there.
yes, I understand this whole,
Have you reached out to last year's committee?
Other than one, I gotta reach out to Terry, I reached out to Rick, and I reached out to Bridie, and they're on board. and
Okay,
they're
well,
gonna
I'll
reach out
mention
to
it.
Yeah.
I think she liked working with them, so
Yeah.
I suspect that she will, but I'll
Yeah,
speak
if
to
you wanna
her.
reach out,
Yeah.
because they're ready to meet, I mean, if we wanna start getting this
Yeah.
together by,
No, they were really efficient.
273, we don't really need that on there, right?
no,
So we're not doing that no more.
Definitely not.
So I mean, that can come.
no, no.
Yeah, it can
And-
just go away.
Yep, go away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that will just get removed, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
not, but, you sent us a notice that the credit union had a donation for us.
Oh,
Yes,
And so, and I think we're all on the same page, that, we have to accept it, because we can't accept it, it has to go before the legislative body, because it's specifically tagged for the park, the Veterans Memorial Park.
right,
So I would thank them, just call or write them a note, and thank them for that, but let them know that we're not gonna be able to actually cash that check
yeah,
until,
I was gonna reach out to Jason, and I thought of that after you did, so it's already.
yeah, I saw Jason's
on
response,
board,
he's exactly right, it's gonna go
yeah.
into
So
the veterans,
I will reach out to them too, about
and
that.
that's very nice of them to do that for us.
But at the end of the day, when that happens though, because again, what happened last year, it's gonna go into their budget line. It's
Right.
not gonna
Into a
go,
bank account.
it's not gonna go into a bank account, it's not gonna go towards,
Well, not for very long.
no, correct, but I mean, it's not gonna go into a designated, it's
Right.
gonna go into the line
Right.
item for
The
that
park.
department.
Right,
Right.
the
Right,
park.
yep,
That's right.
yes, absolutely, no, they were very specific on that, which is fine,
Right.
the park, we can use all the help we can get for the park.
Correct. And again, I mean, the fire department's kind of the same way. If the fire department, this is how it should be working. If they receive a donation for specific things like that, to be used in a certain way, that's,
That should come to us, that
it's,
should go to the
all should
legislative
be
body.
done, yeah.
We
Well,
can't even accept it. I mean, we can accept it, but the town has to approve accepting it.
Sure.
Does
Now-
does that go on a generic warrant as far as we're?
No,
for
it's,
them
you
to
actually
vote?
label
So
it.
it is.
I
Yep.
labeled it,
Itemized.
I
Yep.
labeled it as,
Other
right,
items.
actually, you know how we do the snowmobile,
Oh, okay.
the
For
money
the-
from the
oh, from the
snowmobile.
snowmobile.
I labeled it similar to that.
Okay.
And it's actually, I got it as an article line.
If
We-
they
okay.
wanted to make a donation to the town, then
We can accept it.
We can accept
I-
that, and it goes in the general fund.
Remember we had, when they sold the Legion,
Yes.
they wanted to specifically
Ah.
tag it for an enhancement to the monument, it was like a rock wall or something like that. It's like, okay, but we can't accept it.
Right,
It's gonna have to go, and they didn't wanna wait,
right,
so they just said, well,
okay,
here, take the money.
right.
Sure.
But they didn't have to do that, so. It's a cumbersome, because you'd think you could take money, but
Yeah, yeah.
you can't with,
Well,
Strings.
that, and I think a lot of people still in the cookie jar theory.
yeah, they
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
They definitely do.
We do, it's a big one, it's a general fund, so.
Speaking of cookie jar, how's our money invested now?
Mm-hmm.
We had a big chunk of money that was in CDs. Are we rolling that in CDs
It's
anymore?
still in there, yeah.
Do you know what the rate of return is?
Not very little.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about
Yeah.
that, because it shouldn't be very little anymore.
No, no.
No, it's only, our interest is only roughly around 700 a month. It used to be 1,500 like 2 years ago, and
So
it's gone.
It's 700 a month, what's the balance?
I was just gonna ask, how much have we pulled any out, or is it all still invested?
It's all
the
still
same?
in there, it's all still there. We
Okay,
haven't
cause I know
pulled
a couple
any.
of times there was a conversation about needing to, it wasn't sure if it was gonna happen.
Yeah, you might just give them a little call and see if they've got a little better rate for us.
Yeah, because I
'Cause-
know Bridie had to do it,
I've got money markets that are paying 4 1/4.
Because
So-
our interest last year was $8,518.
On how big a
And
balance?
You don't know the
We have
balance.
700 and something thousand.
Okay.
Yeah, 771.
Yeah, that sounds like a 1%er.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
not-
believe that's all it was.
Yeah,
Oh, and
they're gonna have to do
they're-
better than that,
Yeah.
okay?
Is that at the credit union still, or no?
Yes, it is. It is.
Hmm.
Okay.
We could look into Camden too. I think they got some new programs.
I would phone call around,
Yeah, definitely.
see what's available.
Yep,
Some of the smaller banks are not really hurting for cash, so they're
Correct.
not as aggressive with their rates. So, and that could be the case with the local credit union, but others they want deposits. So it depends on where you go. And we may entertain opening an account with like a brokerage.
right,
I mean, we open an account with Fidelity, I'm sure they have a money market that pays over 4,
yeah.
so.
So as far as that donation though, I think it'd be better if you just reach out to the credit union where that came from and
Yeah,
directly, cause
yeah,
I don't want to see you communicate to Jason.
Oh, no,
Right,
no, I was
no.
just thanking from the,
Sure.
Yeah,
from the
I'll
town,
thank
thank you.
Well, and
Yeah.
then you can let them know the process, so they know.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll reach out to them.
Because that way there, I mean, maybe they may change how they, no different than Legion did, they may wanna adjust.
Yeah,
how
they
do
may
Yep,
want to
that's
just
true.
to say, give us a call so that if we,
Yep,
for a heads up so that we can present it.
Yeah,
yeah, it's,
And/or they may wanna-
they need to understand that it's a $165 gift for anybody who's listening. It's appreciated, but it doesn't really affect the budget, whether they give it to the town directly or they give it to the park directly. It's still gonna get utilized,
it's still, yeah,
and it'll have the same impact. So whatever's easier for them, and we appreciate it very much. Okay, anything else? Any selectmen's concerns?
Oh, we're gonna work on
Yeah.
two. Oh, wait, we didn't do road commissioner, road commissioner.
Okay, that's right, parking in town.
Yes.
I saw a notice on our webpage, so I assume we must have had a problem with parking.
We do, we've had a complaint, especially when it's snowing and they're trying to plow
At 4:00 in the morning.
at 4 o'clock in the morning and a vehicle is in the road and they can't plow. So,
Or 2:00 in the morning, whatever it is.
so there is a winter ordinance that they can be towed at their expense.
We've done it.
So it's gonna be
Yes.
enforced. The issue really seems to be unfortunately on School Street. And we really need to keep that road clear.
Correct.
Correct.
Comes up to fire department.
Yes.
No,
And
we have
the
a
blocking.
winter.
Those new apartments?
winter,
No, they used to park at Dowdy Hill, probably. I mean, it's a
At the
school.
and
Yeah, they
yes.
can't get in there
So
anymore.
there's- Yeah, and they're leaving it in the road.
Yeah, that's not, are they aware that there's an ordinance?
Well, did you put it on the website?
I put it on the website, I posted it on the door. We actually, last year, sent them just a very friendly letter, you know, explaining
Yep.
that this is the.
That was
School
nice,
Street with
yep.
the fire department, if they could be mindful of it, and they,
it's no different than our
Just-
other ordinances.
Oh, it's a
Until somebody
policy.
drops a hammer, they're not
it's,
gonna
but
listen.
it's not an ordinance, I
No,
should say, it's not an ordinance,
It's
it's
a
a policy.
winter roads policy.
It's a pretty please.
Well, the policy says we have the authority to tow the vehicle.
So,
Are you
number
saying we
nine-
don't?
Number 9 of the policy, it says, based on public safety, all vehicles found to be interfering with appropriate winter maintenance of town roads, the following policy shall apply. From December 1st, each year through April 15th each year, any vehicle found in the town road limits and determined to be interfering with proper road maintenance shall be towed at the owner's expense without any liability to the town. And that was adopted by the Board of Selectmen, October 13th, 1992.
And it's a policy, not an ordinance.
Right.
Yeah, but it still
Yes.
has teeth.
Right.
Do you want her to run that by legal? Before we start towing vehicles?
Well, it wouldn't be a bad question to ask.
I don't have a problem with that.
Because I remember we worked on the traffic ordinance, and this was one piece that was gonna move into that, and it never got completed.
I don't remember that, but it seems like they did do a policy in 92. And so if you guys want to do that, we'll let her
Yeah.
I'll run
vet
by
it.
legal.
Yeah.
Because
that'd be
if
good.
it isn't enforceable, We need to work on one.
Well, we need to finish the traffic ordinance, and get it done.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
But if that has teeth, then I guess you could give them another courtesy note or not.
Correct.
Right.
It's up to you.
Well, if you've already given them, there again.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Anything else?
Motion approved.
Second. Any further conversation? We are adjourned and it's 4 minutes of 5. Thank you.